Alright, so for the past couple of days, I've actually been driving my 1998 Mustang GT seen behind me as opposed to my 2060. And right off the bat, the first thing that struck me about the driving experience is that they're way different. And that's expected. The cars are 18 years apart. Times have changed and they've changed pretty drastically. One thing that really surprised me a lot is I forgot how slow this car is. Like compared to my 2016, that thing's pretty quick, but this one is just slow. Painfully slow too. And then I started thinking to myself, I was like, what would it take for my 98 to be just as fast, if not faster, than my 2016? Let's find out. Alright, so let's start with what we know about both the cars. The 1998 Mustang makes a whopping 225 horsepower. I know. It's not a lot, but back in the 90s, that was actually decent. Nowadays, I'm getting beat by regular traffic. I'm getting dusted by Honda Accords, bro. It's embarrassing, I know. Now, 0-60 and a quarter mile time, also not great on these. 0-60, it gets there eventually, 3 to 5 days, and a quarter mile time, 15 seconds. So the one thing this car does have going forward is it's not that heavy. So a lot of newer cars nowadays have a ton of technology in them that it adds to the weight, but not this one. This one's pretty light, pretty lean. It tips the scales at 3,300 pounds. Probably it's only redeeming quality right now, but we'll get to it. So now let's talk about the 2016. The 2016 makes about 435 horsepower, which is pretty solid. There's not really much out on the road that's faster than it unless you start getting into supercar, hypercar territory. And when it comes to naturally aspirated vehicles, pretty quick. Now 0-60 and quarter mile, they're pretty solid too. 0-60 in about 4.3 seconds and quarter mile just under 12 seconds. Definitely faster than this thing right here. Now I talked about it earlier. Like I said, newer cars got a lot on technology, got a bunch of sensors, a whole bunch of other stuff in them. I need to put my 2016 on a diet. 2016 weighs about 3,800 pounds. So right off the bat, we're looking at a 500-pound difference. So let's talk about actually, making this thing faster and how you would go about that. So let's take a look at what we know. We're looking at about a 200 horsepower difference between the cars. That's a lot. The quickest way to make horsepower in these things, not a lot of horsepower, to start making horsepower, you just want to start somewhere, is with your exhaust. I've said this multiple times. The first mod everybody does whenever they get a performance car, sports car, muscle car, whatever you want to call it, is a cold air intake. The cold air intake, you're not going to make a lot of horsepower, but if you pair it up with a couple supporting mods, you got a good start. You're going to need a cold air intake, you're going to need headers, mid pipe, and then a catback exhaust. With that, that's a good start, but again, getting a new exhaust, you're not really going to see that much horsepower again. So if you actually want to see some serious horsepower, then you're probably going to want to actually build your engine. I'm talking your internals. Now, with a couple bolt-ons, yeah, sure, you'll make a little bit of horsepower, get a tune, you can squeeze out a little bit more. But if you want to get horsepower out of these things, then you got to build your engine. It's not going to be enough to beat a 2016. Honestly, you're going to need a lot more than just what I've already mentioned. So I did some research online and I was trying to see, how do you make this faster? Short answer is you don't. So if you're actually looking to make this fast, and there are a couple ways, but all of them are going to cost you a lot of money. So you got to be prepared for that. So if you want to go the naturally aspirated way and then build an engine, full bolt-on, it's a must. It's not only about like what you have on your engine, it's also, like I said, all the supporting mods that come with it. Once you start getting horsepower, you're going to need traction in the back. I learned that the hard way, all right? I got a full bolt-on Mustang that spins whenever I go from first to second, or if I rip it from second to third. Just in there spinning tires, and you lose a couple seconds there. So how do you fix that? So what you do is you get better tires. I got a set of Pirellis on my other car. They're decent tires, but compared to like a Michelin or something like that, I'd rather have the Michelins if I'm being honest. It's not only about like the quality of your tires, but also your tire size also plays a factor, right? The back of my car, I got a 275 tire, which is, it's pretty thick, but again, I'm still losing traction in the back. That can be a problem sometimes. Another way to fix that is to get a bigger tire. Now, if you're serious about racing, then go ahead and get you some slicks, get you a drag pack set up. So aside from tires, another thing you can do, my car isn't automatic, but let's say you have a manual, you can get a short throw shifter. So I talked about the new technology a lot of these newer cars have, and when it comes to the S550 Mustang, the 10 speed goes crazy. That thing shifts like super fast, and honestly, I don't care if you claim to have a driver mod or whatever, you're never going to shift faster than the computer. I already have an automatic in this, but let's say you have a manual, you want to make that a little bit faster. You want to make your shifts a lot faster, a lot, smoother. Get yourself a short throw shifter. Again, it's not going to be a major difference, but it'll definitely help out. And any little thing you can do to give yourself an advantage, you kind of got to take it. Alright, so let's say you do all that and you're still getting beat. What's your next thing? Alright, so everything we've talked about so far has been keeping this car naturally aspirated. Let's get into some big boy mods now. We got a 200 horsepower gap we're trying to cut. The quickest way to do that would be going forced induction. If you really want to make power in these, then you're going to need forced induction. You're going to need a turbo or you're going to need a supercharger. Look at the Terminator Cobra, for example. Fully built engine, forced induction, makes 400 horsepower, which is pretty decent. Is it enough to keep up with the 2016? I'm not too sure if I'm being honest, but it'll at least give you a chance. So that's a very expensive mod, and then another very expensive mod that you can do to make these things faster, which I've actually thought about, but the way my bank account is set up, I'm talking about an engine swap. So I've already done one engine swap on this thing. I blew up the original engine and I just simply replaced it with another 4.6 V8. Now if I had the money back then I would have done what the ultimate goal for this is, and that is put a Coyote in here. So if we're going Coyote against Coyote, Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3, in this car, like I said, 500 pounds lighter. If we're going stock for stock, I'm gonna have to give it this one just because it's way lighter. But listen, engine swap, you're not only gonna have to swap out your engine, but you're gonna have to do your exhaust and of course, your transmission. All of those components all attached to your engine, and you can't have one without the other. Very expensive project, very time consuming. If you got the money for it, then by all means go ahead. And I hate you because I want to do that, but I can't afford to do that yet, but I'm gonna do that eventually. I don't know how. That's the ultimate goal. On my mod list, I have on my phone right there. The last mod I have on the list for Project Pony is an eventual 5 swap. I don't know how we're going to get there, but we're going to get there eventually. Just wait on it. Now, I can already see what some of you guys are thinking. Is like, hey, why don't you LS swap it? I'm talking about a Mustang here. For those of you saying, hey, just LS swap it, it's probably going to be cheaper. You can make decent horsepower. That's a Chevy engine. This is a Mustang, a Ford Mustang. I am not going to put a Chevy engine in a Mustang. I don't care what anybody says. That should be a sin right there. And if you're thinking about that, you need help. So after doing all this research and looking at, what it's going to cost me, what I'm going to have to do, what I'm going to have to, modify on this car, I've come to the conclusion that for now, I'm just going to keep it stock. I already have one Coyote Mustang. If I'm being honest, driving a fast car is fun, but you don't really get to open it up all the way. You don't really get to just enjoy like the full raw power that comes with a Coyote Mustang, a full bolt-on Coyote Mustang, unless you're really on the highway or you're on a track or the drag strip, whatever. Now this thing, on the other hand, this thing is slow right here. So you floor it and you don't really go anywhere, but so I don't really know what it is, but driving a slow car fast is honestly more fun than driving a faster car. Like, I don't know how to explain it. It's just the fact that your car can just blow up at any minute or just fall apart or break something. It gives you more of an adrenaline rush. I don't know, it's more fun. Alright, so that's gonna be it for this week's video. Drop a like, comment down below. If you were to make this thing fast, would you rather Coyote swap it or would you rather go forced induction? Let me know down below. And of course, don't forget to subscribe because I make Mustang videos every Monday.